this is Spotlight again, and I am Pastor Dan. And we start a new month with a new series today, and we decided we're going to take on the topic of the judgment. I just finished preaching a whole week series in a place in Texas. It's amazing to me the reaction of people who are just thrilled to get a picture of God that didn't include fear. I grew up with fear. Probably the dominant doctrine that affected that was this idea of the investigative judgment. And I just grew up with the idea that if you had one sin that somehow you forgot to get it confessed and get it out of your life, you were out. I was obsessed with being sure that if I ever had an accident or something, I would quickly get all my sins forgiven. Every time I got on a plane to fly, I would say, okay, Jesus, forgive all my sins in case we would have an accident. Nothing wrong with that, but we're not supposed to live in fear. 1 John 4:18, perfect love casts out fear. Steps to Christ says it was Satan's constant effort to try to make us live out of fear, and Jesus came to wipe away the dark shadow of fear. So you know the doctrine, 1844, William Miller added up all the years and trying to get to 2,300 days. Came down to October 22, 1844. They sat out there waiting for Jesus to come. He didn't come. So as they began to revise their understanding, they decided that it was a judgment in the sanctuary in heaven. Then they got the idea that God would begin to go over the names of the saints. Jesus took our sins, he took them through his blood into the heavenly sanctuary. Now the heavenly sanctuary is sort of polluted, I guess, with that. So now Jesus has to cleanse the heavenly sanctuary from all of our sins. And the idea began to be developed is that first God would go through the judgment of the dead and then the living. So you could be walking around and all of a sudden your name would come up. You wouldn't even know it. And your name would pass. Powerful evangelistically. You don't know when your name is coming up. Come down the path tonight and give your life to Jesus. But it scared people, scared me, scared my parents, scared everybody I knew of that generation. The book of Daniel, the whole book of Daniel is no more fear. Not afraid to not eat the king's food. Not afraid to go into the king and say, there's going to be 4 empires, you're not going to be the last one. Not afraid to stand up and be thrown into the fiery furnace. Not afraid to walk in and read the handwriting on the wall and say, your kingdom is taken from you. Not afraid to pray at the open window and be thrown in the lion's den. But somehow when we got to Daniel 7, we made a doctrine out of fear. And that's the opposite point. We are not to be afraid, and if you'll stay with me through this series on Spotlight, I would like to give you the gift, if you don't already have it, that we stand before God without fear, and we can face the future absolutely without fear. This is Spotlight. We hope you'll be with us.
Thank you for watching Spotlight. We're so excited about this. We hope that you'll subscribe and so you'll get all of them. And please just forward it on to others and tell other people about it. And let's just see what kind of an audience we can get for these messages of Spotlight. God bless you.